Well, move aside Nancy Drew. These days, the hottest new trend in young adult fiction is decidedly adult. Racy reads with sexual themes are finding a passionate fan base in young girls all across the country. But is extending the white-hot success of 50 Shades of Grey to a younger audience a good idea? ABC's Juju Chang brings us a look between the lines.
Your scent.
If you could put lust in a bottle,
It's like a drug to me.
it might look something like this. The nectar of forbidden love. Before Twilight was a blockbuster movie, it was a publishing goldmine, selling 250 million copies. And Twilight inspired E.L. James to write 50 Shades of Grey. It was a kinky juggernaut, spawning 50 Shades-themed bondage classes,
doing a downward motion,
and single-handedly boosting publishing. At one point, the trilogy took the top 3 slots of the New York Times bestseller list. Now there's a new genre mixing erotic fiction with the young adult fan base. It's called New Adult.
He cradles my head with his hand and lowers me back to the bed, climbing on top of me. I love you, he says. I've loved you for so long, but I just couldn't tell you.
At the Real Bookstore in Dallas, new adult authors are getting the rock star treatment.
Thank y'all for coming. Oh my God.
Fans drove hundreds of miles for a chance to meet Colleen Hoover, a 30-something mom of 3 boys. A year ago, she was a social worker, proudly living in a single-wide trailer.
She's always been a good writer.
Sensing her talent, her mom kept saying, "Hey, you should write a book."
And I thought, oh, I should write this and give it to my mom for Christmas.
So she published her novel, Slammed, a love story with more sexual tension than actual sex. It's a taboo relationship set amidst poetry slams. We talked to her amidst a bunch of fans.
I did try to query agents, and I got a lot of rejection letters about how I should change it to third person, take out the poetry, maybe raise the age. You know, and the book had already been out, and I was getting rejection letters after it hit the New York Times.
That's right. As she's getting turned down by publishers and literary agents, she made it to the bestseller list. Colleen bypassed the mainstream publishing route and made it onto the New York Times list 5 months after being a Christmas present to Mom.
Every day my sales would increase by 1 or 2 until eventually it hit the top 100.
The demand for new adult books is boosted by its mature themes. The stories often involve young lovers finding their way in a complex world.
I'm looking at you. I know you're scared. You're acting like you're not, but you are. I know you now. We've been doing this for a while. I know you now.
Stop me. You don't know me.
Like the hit HBO show Girls, there are plenty of high-intensity relationships with relatable characters, chock full of drama. It's a bit like a classic Harlequin romance, but set in modern times with younger characters, say in college, coming of age and often exploring their sexuality.
You wrote a book about a girl who's desperate to lose her virginity.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think it's a timely subject.
It's like Nancy Drew grew up and she's a little bit slutty. Just a little bit.
Cora Carmack is a breakout new adult author still in her 20s. As a college student, she wrote Losing It during a 3-week break from school.
And I remember thinking, if I just make $1,000, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, because that's a good summer internship.
Exactly.
When you sell a self-published book, how much money do you make off of it?
My price point was $3.99, and I made about $200,000.
I curled up on my bed, the same bed where I'd almost had sex, the same bed where I had wanted to have sex, sort of.
Mandy Migliaccio admits she hadn't read a book in years until she picked up 50 Shades of Grey.
I went from reading 0 books to reading over 100 in 8 months.
Okay, has it improved your sex life?
I've always had a good sex life.
But fans of New Adult say the books have reignited a passion for reading that goes well beyond the steamy love scenes.
How much of it is the sexuality, do you think, that young readers are drawn to?
I wouldn't say it's the sexuality. I think it's the falling in love part that really draws me in. Everybody wants that for themselves.
How do you respond to the criticism that, well, this isn't really literature, this is just, you know, oh, you're offended?
Yeah, I am, because then it's like, then what was I reading? I don't understand. And it's around my age. I'm just like, well, that's me. Like, every character is me. So, I mean, and you guys. It's just
You and you and you.
I think it's indicative of the rise of self-publishing.
And a rise in the power of the reader on social media. Elizabeth Chandler co-founded Goodreads.com.
So here we are, young adult.
Where 14 million bookworms recommend books to each other. Colleen cleverly gave away copies to key Goodreads bloggers, and word of mouth ricocheted around the internet.
Publishers took notice, readers responded, and they drove the trend.
And so it's growing at a time when everyone thinks, oh, books are dying.
We don't think that on Goodreads.
It's a revolution in the book world, led by writers like Colleen, who could be the heroine in her own Cinderella story. Her mom retired early. Her husband was able to quit his job as a trucker, and the family moved from their trailer home to a modest 3-bedroom.
It's a little bit like hitting the jackpot, isn't it?
Exactly. This whole past year has been crazy.
Which is a slam dunk for the whole family. For Nightline, I'm Juju Chang in Dallas, Texas.